Good evening. I'm checking the connection. Looks like it's pretty shit, so this might be stopping and starting. Sorry about that, but I know you'll be able to catch my voice. So, in voice, hi. I hope you are doing well. I am absolutely not. I looked into the reading that I did last week, and true to the cards that fell out, there's some underworld shit going on with me right now. And as said last week, it is giving something Queen of Rodsy. I do feel in control. I just don't feel I actually don't feel in control. But I feel what is it? I feel fine. I feel in acceptance about the fact that I'm not in control. I feel the most in acceptance that I have felt in a really long while processing these energies. Yeah, very much in between worlds this evening. And as I posted via my social media profiles, please bear with me in the way that I channel this evening, because I know that I'm not at optimum level. I don't feel optimal energetically. I did just try a bit of meditation, hoping that it would balance me a little, but it honestly just made me a little bit sleepy. So, yeah, as per the title, we're doing the work, but the work is working us as well. And I felt into the frequency of needing to meet the work that's being done on us halfway by allowing that we feel may change us, may affect our behavior. I did also want to touch on how confident and ironically powerful I feel when I am in this state. The emotions suck, but I do always come into feeling really, really powerful and like I don't give a fuck, and like I feel very in control of my own frequency. Like I don't care about people pleasing when I'm like this, which is great for me because I'm a chronic people pleaser. So yeah, when I'm like this, I don't care about, I don't care for overthinking. I don't care for I don't fluff a lot because of the fact that I don't overthink. I'm very blunt. And yeah, as I've said, that specific frequency of bluntness, not people pleasing, not overthinking, is very useful for my energetic frequency, because all of those things are things that I have struggled with finding a middle ground with all my life. Like I've always felt like I would have been better off in terms of my ability to make decisions and just exist overall if I just let go of the people pleasing and the overthinking and etc. So it's very strange. While I don't feel my best, this is my best, what you're seeing, in the sense that this is the truest version of me. I'm not pretending, and I'm not trying for anything. I'm just being myself right now. And I suppose that is, or not I suppose, that supports the statement that I had opened this line of discussion with regarding how this work this work works on us back. This work is working on me in that it's cutting through the fog that would normally be present if I were in a different, more upbeat frequency. It cuts through the fog, lets me be who I be. Doesn't matter, come what may, come as I am. This is who I am, whatever, you know? I think that this can be true for many of us during this time. I don't know how long we're going to be in this underworld shit for, hey? It feels like it's never ending. I guess it correlates with the seasonal changes. If you are with me in South Africa or in the Southern Hemisphere and part of the world where it's cold, then this change of weather is doing its work on us mentally, or on me. Let me speak for myself right now. It's doing its work on me mentally. The winter blues. And generally this time of the year is never ever fine for me. Like June, July, I really go down under. And it actually this is going to be me for at least a month and a half, which really sucks. But since this is a pattern that has occurred enough times and I'm getting older and I'm getting really, really, really bored with like the same thing. I'm getting bored with approaching this time of year in the same kind of victim-y way. Yeah. I have to change. I have to get better. And I think getting better will come with, as I've been saying, just allowing this time of the year to do what it needs to do. The contraction of the cold, the hibernation, the need to isolate and go within is all very useful and very important for the cycles of our lives. And for the cycle of my life. And it's about time that I surrender to the fact that it's an important process. It's not something I can change. It's something that needs to happen. And it's happening for the greater good of my development and my evolution. So just have to trust that everything is happening as it should. I don't know what can come out of the energy that I'm in right now, especially considering that I'm feeling so wrapped up in like in my perceptions and the way that I'm feeling that I don't know if I have anything to offer outside of pulling cards and seeing what comes out. I would like, though, to just cut through to a commercial break and mention again on this live how grateful I am for everyone that attended yesterday's live, and to just let everyone know that that is definitely going to be something that I'll be doing more often. I generated a lot of joy from that experience, and I would like to make it a norm. The Tarot and Chill thing that I did yesterday is available as a playback on my YouTube channel, and I think it'll be the only one that I make available as a playback because, like I mentioned briefly in the reading yesterday, I don't think it's that interesting to watch back. I think it's more of a live experience. In terms of envisioning everything, I think it would actually be really cool to make it like a live event so that I could connect with people in person. But we'll see. That's like a really long time from now. I'm just speaking it into existence, I suppose. But just to put it out there that I'm really grateful and that I really love this work of showing up online, showing up as myself, and pulling tarot cards. It's all three of those things together in conjunction. The way it creates this really fun realm and method of creation and expression for me is really lovely and fun, and has allowed me to understand more of my purpose. So thank you for yesterday and for everybody that tunes in weekly. I really am, I don't want to feel too apologetic, but I do feel like I owe some kind of like, I wish I were in a better mood this evening, but I'm just not. Before coming on, I did look at a few cards, just randomly picking, and it fell out again. Like I bumped it and it fell out. The cards that I had initially looked at, the top one was the Three of Swords. And to unpack the energy of this, this doesn't just speak of a heartache. It speaks of a split between the mind and the heart, and the need to like unify the two, and that splitting being the reason for any feelings of ache, confusion, heartbreak, sadness. It's just the lack of the unification between those two things. I feel like I should get into reading the interpretation of it from this deck. That is definitely the energy that I'm feeling right now. It speaks of a problem that splits you apart. Any attempt to problem solve using the intellect alone will be counterproductive. A need to express grief and unhappiness without projecting it onto the outside world or acting it out. And when I was watching the reading from last week, I'd started off reading the interpretation of the Nine of Cups in reverse, which spoke of the need to be honest with how you feel and not trying too hard. So that is generally where I'm at right now. And if you are with me, then hold my hand, I'm with you. The follow-up card that came with the Three of Swords was the Three of Rods. So it again spoke of some of the energy that I had read the reading before last, that spoke about how all of this is something that will eventually be useful. And I actually read for somebody in last night's live stream and I think these two ideas of the Three of Swords, the Three of Rods, and how this energy, how feelings of heartbreak, grief, etc., can be useful creative energy. Someone in last night's live stream reading came in talking about how the grief and the things that they're processing is inspiring them to start their own YouTube channel, to start something like this. And then there's a user, I've forgotten her name, but I will link it in the description. I think on YouTube she's called New Mind Frame or something like that. But she spoke about very directly, she said, if you're processing grief or a heartbreak, a really useful thing for you to do is to just start a YouTube channel and talk about it. I've never seen anybody advise that before, but enough people do it for it to actually make sense as a solution to process heartbreak. I have never thought that there is an issue with like oversharing. I don't really believe in that concept too much, because I think that in general we are all human experiencing life, and if you are going through something and you're going through a process, that process is true to you. It's happening in your life. I don't understand what the idea of oversharing is, if it is that it's something that is true to your experience. Yeah, it's something true to your experience. It's happening. It's affecting the way you are. It's changing who you are. I don't get how it's oversharing, because a lot of the time we wear our experiences in everything about ourselves, in the way that we behave, in our posture. It shows up through our representation. So I don't know, unless you are a particularly private person who like hides everything about themselves and you want to, I mean, unless you fucking stay inside the house the whole time, then I don't know where the line of oversharing would be, especially in this day and age when I find it a privilege to know and to be able to share your story, with others, to have that line of connection and relatability. I think it's a privilege. Yeah, I was yapping. I can understand the line of oversharing, but I do really believe in the power right now, especially right now. I believe in the power of sharing your story, your grief and experiences, the things you've learned. I think there are enough people on the internet, and there are enough of us seeking connection with each other, for at least one other person to be seeking your truth out specifically and to be kind of saved by it once you choose to share your story. So I encourage that of everyone. I think we should all have YouTube channels, speaking our truths and being honest. And I think that these cards, as the opener of this reading, may speak to that. If you relate to that, to the whole, because this is actually, I mean, this was a completely other person. This is a separate person. And that wasn't the first time that someone has come onto, has come into the chats mentioning how they want to start a YouTube channel, but they're afraid. Don't be afraid. It's useless. Fear is useless. And I'm extreme by taking it this far, but you're not going to die. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to physically hurt you. It may feel awkward at first, but you'll slide into it really nicely. And like I said, there are enough people on the internet for at least one other person to feel seen and to resonate with your frequency, to feel seen by you and to resonate with your frequency. There's at least one other person looking for your truth. So start that channel as soon as possible. Or do whatever it is that your heart calls you to do in order to process the times that we're in. There's a lot going on energetically. There always is, right? At this point, there's always some fucking thing going on. And we're all trying to find ways to stay connected to our truth ourselves. To stay present, hopeful. We're all trying to find ways to feel alive. So at this point, it doesn't really matter what you do or don't do. So just do it. I'm going to close the door. Of course, as I close the door, my son comes in and opens it. Anyway, that's the only opening energy that I have that I want to open with. I am. That is the only opening energy I have, and yeah, I think adding anything else would be too much yapping for me, because energetically, I'm flushed. I feel flushed right now. So I'm gonna pull cards to try to further process, understand what may be coming, to understand how we can I mean, I think at this point we know what the work is doing. I think we are all wise enough to understand how to meet the work halfway. We get the point of surrender. I'm sorry again about the signal. Not sure how to approach that without shifting, maybe. All right, anyway. At this point, we understand. I think we're all wise enough to understand the work, how it's working on us, what we can do for the work to work. But I think what we can pull cards for is to understand what's next, seek a little bit of upliftment. And yeah, maybe more interpretation on how exactly this work is, like, what the fuck is going on, you know? Maybe some understanding on how we can, like, how we can create, because with three showing up like that, the Three of Swords, the Three of rods, it's definitely it's definitely a birthing process that's happening right now. We're definitely midwifing, like, a new way of being for ourselves. That's what it feels like. It feels like there's like a some efforts of inner harmony happening within us, between parts of ourselves, parts of what was, parts of what's coming. On a personal level, it feels like it feels like I need to make room for every version of myself. And I haven't been making enough room for the version of myself that's most displeasing to me, the part that's not very productive, that's like extremely depressed and kind of lethargic. I have that kind of weird relationship with my life where I just don't feel enough. I largely don't feel enough energy to hold the frequency of, like, being and doing. In astrological terms, tropical astrology terms, my South Node is in Aries. So my will of being and my will to live is like, what can I say? I have a more complicated relationship with it than most people. And that, coupled with my fragile mental health and emotional processing, it puts me in a sensitive, very unique position of, like, perceiving the self, as I posted in my most recent video, which I'll link in the description as well. So yeah, my relationship with my own self, my own individual self, essentially makes my living experience really, really weird, really, really slow and exhausting, and in effect depressing at times. And I haven't been able to really accept that wholesomely, you know, without trying to change it. Just accept that this is just how I am sometimes, and I I take more time and space. I take my own time and space to emotionally process things, and it's not a crime to process it at my own pace. So if you relate, then yeah, that's what we're up to right now. Needing to accept every part of ourselves, even the really shitty, miserable parts that we perceive as not useful, the parts that don't earn us money, the parts that don't create, the parts that can't be a good friend or a good community member or a good parent, a good caretaker. It's not a crime to be imperfect. You won't always be, and there may be very large chunks of your life where you will not be, and you can't force it. You can't force that. So you do best just accepting it. Accept yourself for each phase that you're in, and trust that everything you do is exactly what needs to be done, that you're doing enough, that you are enough. So we have the Eight of Cups, the Hierophant, the Three of Discs, number 3 again, and the Two of Discs. I think all of these cards together speak on exactly what it is that I was just mentioning now. Specifically with regards to the energy of like of surrendering to. All right, all of these cards together are giving me the energy of how I tweeted about this, how powerful your intention is, and how that is normally enough, standardly. And we don't talk about this. I mean, okay, no, I was going to say we don't talk about it enough. We do, actually. Our community definitely speaks about it enough, but we're not taught enough about how important intention is. Like, honestly, the understanding of intention and how all you need to do is just decide something with your heart and your mind, put them together, mesh them together, and what your intention is, and then just allow the rest to lead the way. That is, I believe that I was going to say that is not knowledge that is passed down generationally, but I believe that indigenously, in indigenous cultures, without directly using those words, that is what elders teach their children, is that you just need to stay focused on your intention. This card speaks of being led by forces that are beyond your control, about making decisions, but those decisions have an underlying energy to them that has no words to describe. That's intention. I believe that that's what this card, in this deck in particular, that's what this card speaks of, is needing to make the decision, but is, okay. It gives, the Two of Discs standardly talks about needing to make a decision. But in this deck, with this image, it pays respect to the fact that every decision you make, while there's an external, maybe verbalized or acted upon decision, it all has an underlying energy of intention, which is the most important, is intention. And in the description of the card, it speaks of the image of the heart that's above it. That is where the frequency of your intention lies, right? In your heart space. The Three of Discs speaks of, it holds the same kind of decision-making frequency. And the Eight of Cups is, as it displays a feeling of loss. But in this image, it specifically brings attention to the fact that all of these cups are propped nicely against the tree, so that this figure is very aware that it's time to move on. But there's some feeling of this loss, this heartache over what has happened, a sadness over what has been, and the fact that you need to leave it behind. And then the Hierophant standardly speaks of like spiritual strength, essentially. When I see this card, I like to reference it to ancestral connection. And I also, in general, every time I'm feeling this underworld exploration or I'm feeling extremely depressed, I like to consider the fact that my ancestors are with me and helping me process any sadness or feelings of loss. So with all these cards falling out, oh man, hopefully you can get your intentions clear. Hopefully you can stay focused on what's most important through any feelings of depression or confusion or like what has been will never be again. Keep your eyes on what will be, on what you want to be. And I want to say truly release what has been, but I can't. I find it difficult to speak on that releasing process when I'm going through it myself and don't really know how to properly uplift or advise on how you can best do that. I'm going to tap into the Eight of Cups interpretation really quickly and read what stands out. So we have moving from material stability and certainty to a less definite but more spiritual future. Withdraw from a current situation due to a compelling inner message. And this Two of Discs also speaks of that same sentence, a compelling inner message. Our intuitions are speaking loud or are seeking to speak loud and clear through any emotional processes that are happening. And with this card and its spiritual connection, its spiritual implications, I think that it is, I've said it time and time again, but it becomes more and more important to find stillness, meditate, pray, stick to a spiritual regime. And should you feel completely lost, rely on that to stabilize. I'm going to tap into the Three of Discs now. This card speaks of an overview of life and seeing how things fit. It could be a hint to take an open-minded look at your life, its objectives, and quality. I'm now feeling into this whole frequency of dissatisfaction, depression, whatever. It's, again, speaking from being deep within the pits of it. This, I believe, is referencing our call to change the way we are living. I said it last week, and it's also popped up in last evening's reading with someone who pulled cards asking about a career move. I think it's a general thing happening amongst all of us collectively that it's time for us to be happier, more joyful, more content. We deserve more enjoyment in life. We are not getting it. It is time to do something different. Anything. Change jobs, change the way you look, change the setup of your room. At this point, it's anything random. It feels like some random small thing could change an outlook on your life that could totally switch the entire trajectory of your life. It's like I mentioned a few months ago, back when it was still warm, about an art director who was first a mixologist and then attended a wedding of a friend, saw the way light reflected off glass, and that changed his whole trajectory of then suddenly becoming an art director. And there are little pockets of huge change awaiting us. Little pockets with little actions, little things that we can do that may lead to really huge changes in our lives that could make us happier, that could leave us more fulfilled with our lives. We are simply not fulfilled enough. We are not fulfilled enough. This may largely have to do with like a career change. If you have been considering it, if you've been in the throes of feeling like you are not satisfied with your work right now, it is time to consider a change. This also came out in last week's reading. Oh, okay. And I actually touched on this, I remember last week. Last week's reading spoke of how the consideration is coming, and but you don't make a decision yet. Now I think it's time to make the decision. It's time to start applying for new jobs. It's time to draft that resignation letter. This may be something to do with a relationship change as well. If you've been feeling dissatisfied in a romantic connection or even in a friendship, it's time to start thinking about how you would bring up the issue that you have with this connection. But no actual action yet. Let me see. Let's pull cards and see if maybe action should be taken. Oh, but mediation. Okay. So it's not actually fully time to like see if you can work with what you've got. Maybe not a complete reroute, but see if you can change the way things are right now. If you're working a job that's dissatisfactory, see if maybe consider could because this is something, okay. No, but a more spiritual way of life. I was gonna say see if you can get a pay raise, but it doesn't with this card, it doesn't indicate that a pay raise is what's gonna help. Something about the conditions themselves need to change. Maybe, I had a friend once who, she's still my friend, but she was in a situation where she was in this situation where she was feeling a lack of satisfaction over her job. And her little change that she made was to pitch in the suggestion of starting work later and then leaving later. So maybe that's something that you can do. Or pitch the possibility of working from home instead of coming into the office every day. Maybe you work from home a few days out of the week and then you come home for the rest. I mean, go to work for the rest. But yeah, it's looking like a slow reroute altogether, not a complete change though. I could feel that that this was the card that was going to come. With this card, it may be drastic, actually. It may have to be a complete 180. You may have to do something really crazy, like resign soon, like draft the resignation letter and then actually resign, and then have faith in your world, in your life, to meet you with the very coincidental setup of a new job in the perfect time. But it's difficult to have that kind of faith, especially when you're in it, when you're deep within the pits of when you're deep within the pits of this feeling of just like, something needs to change, feeling low about the changes that need to come. It's deep to have that kind of faith, but with the world coming out and with two major arcana cards, what is meant to happen will happen. So if you do happen to be in the position where you feel like you need to draft a resignation letter, it may happen that you end up getting released from your work sooner than whenever it is that you thought you'd hand in that resignation letter. That is talking very Larry though. I'm talking very, what is the word? It feels fickle. This largely feels like a very spiritual thing, where it's not happening so externally so much as it's happening internally, where you're just feeling extremely dissatisfied by your way of being, by your life, by your own self, by the way that you wake up feeling every day, by the way that you're thinking and perceiving and having hope about life, by the way that you're dreaming, it may be a kind of situation where you're just not feeling hopeful. Like you're not feeling a point of dreaming further, of making plans, of investing in your life and in yourself. You don't have the same kind of zest for life and for existing that you used to. And that's an issue that is totally in your hands. It's totally within your control to change that part, the way you perceive life. And you can trust that your life is going to meet you where you are to kind of work through it. Have hope that whatever intention you hold in your mind's eye is going to happen. It's going to unfold. So if you have the intention of truly enjoying your life and being a happy person, like I've held an intention for the longest time to, at the very least, be a happy old person. So fine, whatever's happening right now is happening right now. But as long as when I'm older and when I'm wrinkly and gray, I'm happy and I can hold that frequency of joy in my body regardless of what's happening. And I can give that joy and love and hope, spill it over to the youth around me. I want to be a good matriarchal model for my bloodline. I want to be able to be available for the children of my bloodline as well. Like, I think I feel like it's part of an old woman's duty in general to mother her community around her. So I want to be available in that way as well. I really hope that I have the intention of building my own self materially, spiritually, to be able to be of in complete and entire service in my old age to everyone around me, my community, my bloodline. And so I trust it. And so I surrender to that. I fall into that intention. I allow that to lead me regardless. And I trust that that is what's leading me through every decision I make and don't make. Because I think it's also important to, while you can trust that you're going to make the decisions that will lead you through to the intention that you want, trust as well that trust that everything you're doing is perfect. What you are not doing is also perfect. It's all perfect. Trust it. I'm going to pull one more card and then call it, because honestly, I think that we are still processing. I think that whatever I read for last week is very much spilling over to this week, so that this reading it's not too necessary. Yeah, I could have done without doing this reading, but as I've said time and time, I want to stay true to the schedule, and I really appreciate staying true to it. I like what it does to my organization. I love that I make space for it every week. I love that my son gets used to it as well. It's just part of my life now. And I really love pulling cards. I love tarot. This is actually a really perfect closing card, but I think just as like a cherry on top, So this card actually showed up underneath the deck when I first pulled up the first 4 cards. So, our brains, our mind programs going under a rewiring, as it always has been, as it feels like it has been the entire year. And the Emperor at the bottom of the deck. Happy Father's Day. Our sense of authority and the way that our minds control our reality. The way that our minds and the way that we think control and commands our reality. The way our minds are connected to our intentions, the way our intention leads our reality. The color red is standing out as well. Root chakra work, feeling safe in the world. Generating that sense of safety from things beyond the material. Releasing the material and leading a more spiritual way of life. Yeah. Definitely a career change in the works here. And a career change that might be a little bit uncomfortable to settle into because it's going to mean less material security than you're used to. But what is material? Yeah. The material world is an illusion. What's really real, your spiritual world, the spirit, the world of the spirit, the internal, is realer than the external. The external is a reflection of the internal. I'm going to tap into the One of Swords, read sentences that jump out. So the title of the descriptive paragraph is Cutting Through the Dross. Many consider that the intellect offers our only hope of redemption. Our minds have formed the world we know, for better or for worse. Yeah. Use of the intellect to solve problems or open up possibilities. A symbol of truth and discrimination. Yeah. Acute penetrating power of the mind, which, if connected to the spirit, is a wondrous gift. Symbol of truth and discrimination. All right. Last week, I tapped into the frequency of needing to drop into the heart and the body. It seems like now we need to rise again to the head, but without leaving the heart behind. So finding the middle ground between the two. And this card, with this card, speaking of truth, maybe it's throat chakra work. Oh, yes. And Gemini, sidereal Gemini season has begun. And like I mentioned I mentioned it in the recent video that I posted, that Astro Council Vic, via social media, I will link his profile in this description of this video, suggested that the best way to handle this sidereal Gemini season is to make use of your throat chakra, transmute the energies through the throat, through speaking to yourself, recording video diaries, diary voice notes, possibly even talking to a friend. But the point isn't so much to get feedback, it's to just release and process through speaking. That might be something that helps, that might be a good tool in getting your intentions clear and getting the rerouting of your life in track. I think prayer is going to be something surprisingly useful. Praying out loud, though, not something quiet and whispery. Light a candle and speak very verbally, as if your ancestors are in the room. And if you do find someone to speak to and you communicate verbally with someone, make sure that friend is aware that you're not looking for feedback, that they need to be the listening ear, it's not a tussle. It's not a back and forth. You just need to release. You just need to speak. Let me tap into the Emperor and then I'll close off. For real. I'll close for real. Someone with temporal influence. A keen grasp of practical matters. And the issues are obedience, duty, rights and wrongs, competition, and control. I mean, I think so. Generally, this card speaks for itself, the Emperor. But I do think that we have a surprisingly loose grasp on the concept and the role of masculine energy. I was actually facing somebody on Twitter confronting the idea that a man who has compassion, who is authentic, who has soft touch, who is able to bring comfort to a child, is somebody who would buckle under danger. I completely disagree with that. I think that a man who is able to embody all of those aspects, who is able to embody his feminine aspects, is exactly the kind of person who would not buckle in danger. So, yeah, with reading that card and with seeking our reroute and trying to understand and regroup, rework the way that we are in relationship with our lives, I think it may be useful to approach this regroup from the lens of working with a masculine energy. Work on your authority, your sense of safety, how you call upon that frequency for your own self. Because I really do think that a lot of us have it twisted. A man is not powerful if he is hard and aggressive and loud and big like a bear. A human man is a human man with consciousness. Our consciousness is extremely powerful and can control and manipulate energy. We don't have to act like animals to be able to define our masculine energy. We are more conscious than animals. So animals are things that we can learn from them, but we don't become them. We're human beings. We are a very evolved kind of animal. And we should be acting on that frequency. We should be about it. Remember that we're not animals. We're not animals. So yeah, making use of our divine consciousness, making use of our intellect, remembering that a man can be compassionate and soft while being able to protect you from danger. Your masculine energy is definitely in need of a rework if you think that the only way that you can be masculine is by being hard and big and aggressive and loud. That is ridiculous. And that's where I'll close off because now I'm getting very masculine. I hope that in closing, I hope that we can balance our masculine energies and allow the work to do its work. Because the work is working and it has a life of its own and a work of its own and worky. But yeah, the greater forces are definitely at play right now. And if you take anything from this reading, it's the fact that everything is going exactly as it is meant to be, and you just have to trust the fact that you are being led exactly where you need to, exactly where you're meant to be. Yeah. I hope you have a wonderful week. From whenever it is that you watch this video. Like I said, I'm with you if you're feeling down and out. And everything is temporary. We are walking each other home.